The World Cup winning Brazil sides of 1970 and 2002 are enshrined in legend and seen by many as some of, if not the greatest teams ever to play the game. But there was a Brazil side that didn't even manage to win the World Cup that is considered by many to be the greatest. The 1982 Brazil side is one beloved by many who remember their incredible attacking flair and the beautiful way they played the game, and they are considered one of the greatest sides to never win the World Cup. This is a story of the glorious failure of the 1982 Brazil team. Having become the first team to win the World Cup 3 times in 1970, the rest of the 70s were a disappointment for Brazil on the biggest stage. With the likes of Pelé, Jairzinho and Carlos Alberto now behind them, a new era of Brazilian superstars would be ushered in. Tele Santana's side based themselves around a 4-2-2-2 formation, with a focus on fullbacks to provide width and 2 holding midfielders to provide cover for 2 attacking midfielders at the top. There were 3 main stars of the team, one being Roberto Falcao, a man who would be christened the 8th King of Rome when he helped Roma win the Scudetto in 1983. Then there was Zico, an attacking midfielder considered by many to be the best player in the world at the time, with an incredible ability to turn defence into attack, and he was a set-piece master. The team was led on the field by the iconic Socrates. He was a socialist at a time where Brazil was under the rule of João Figueiredo's military dictatorship, and was also known for his love of smoking and drinking. He had paused his football career at one point to train as a doctor. He was an elegant, intelligent player, renowned for his graceful style and ability to play anywhere on the field. Brazil had a great team going into the tournament in Spain, and were naturally amongst the favourites. They opened their campaign against the Soviet Union. The Soviets took the lead in the first half, and Brazil's campaign was thrown into jeopardy. However, with 15 minutes left, Socrates led by example, receiving the ball on the left-hand side, cutting in past 2 players before blasting a shot from range that flew into the top corner. Dr. Socrates had finally got Brazil's campaign up and running. 2 minutes from time, an even more beautiful goal was scored. Isidoro passed the ball from the right, and Falcao dummied to let the ball go between his legs. Eder received it, flicking the ball up into the air, and he fired a volley towards goal. It sailed in to give Brazil victory. The beautiful Brazilian style was well and truly back, and Socrates' men had announced themselves. Next up was Scotland, and although Brazil again conceded first, any worries were soon put to rest. Brazil's midfield tore the Scots to shreds, with their 5 midfielders interchanging seamlessly, and a brilliant free kick from Zico levelled the scores. Further goals from Oscar, Eder and Falcao took Brazil to a 4-1 win. This was followed by a 4-0 win over New Zealand, as Brazil sealed a spot in the second group stage. Optimism was growing back home, and the side were winning admirers amongst the world for how they were turning football into a work of art. Their next group stage was a true test. Brazil faced star-studded teams in Argentina and Italy, and only one of the 3 sides would advance. First up for Brazil were their arch-rivals, Diego Maradona's Argentina. Brazil took the lead in the 11th minute from a Zico rebound. In the 66th minute, Serginho headed in a second to double their advantage. A third was blasted in by Junior, and although Argentina got one back, Brazil won 3-1. The Brazilians had knocked their arch-rivals out of the World Cup, and only Italy stood in the way of them and the semi-finals. A draw would be good enough for Santana's side, but that went against his philosophy, as he felt the game was there to be won at all costs. It will be one of the all-time great World Cup games. Brazil's attacking force meeting Italy's brute defence was truly a case of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. The game kicked off in the Barcelona sun, but disaster quickly struck. Juventus striker Paolo Rossi headed the Italians in front with only 5 minutes gone. However, Brazil soon burst back into life, as Socrates played a 1-2 with Zico before threading the ball past the legs of Dino Zoff and into the net for an equaliser. However, Brazil would soon have it all to do again, as in the 25th minute, Paolo Rossi fired Italy back in front. The teams went in at half-time with Italy 2-1 ahead. Brazil were on their way out. Brazil emerged, desperate to keep their place in the competition. Brazil attacked time and time again, and eventually were back in it. In the 68th minute, Falcao shot from the edge of the box and curled it in. The midfielder screamed with delight as it seemed as though he had saved his side, but there was still another twist in the story. With 16 minutes to go, the ball found its way to Paolo Rossi once again, and he netted to seal his hat-trick. This time, there would be no way back for the Brazilians. Italy won 3-2 to seal a spot in the semi-finals. The majestic Brazil were out. So many were devastated at the result, and not just the Brazilians. Neutrals across the world were cheering on La Seleção, having fallen in love with them over the tournament for their beautiful play. The victory of the defensive Italians was decried by many, and the result was heralded the day football died. However, Brazil's efforts were not in vain. Tele Santana told his players to remember they had enchanted the world, and he received a standing ovation when he entered his post-match press conference. Brazil had scored 15 goals in 5 games, with 7 different players netting. They may not have won the World Cup, but they won the world's hearts. The Brazil side of 1982 are fondly remembered, and there are many in Brazil who hold them in higher regard than Brazil sides who did win the World Cup. It is one of football's greatest tragedies that they could not put their name on the trophy, and although the Samba Stars did not rule the world in 1982, they are the side from that tournament that everyone remembers the most fondly. Santana's superstars will forever remain icons, and as a nation who thrive to entertain, there are few honours greater than that.